No.
Either.
She'll call you. I just told her I just didn't.
Okay, so I'll wait
Wait,
for
here's
the
an email. Says a text. Robert, please let me know that y'all would prefer to return my. Please let me know.
Okay.
Oh, she sent a text, so you just contact her when she can get her deposit and she'll drop the keys off.
I'll be right back. Okay.
Bye. Yeah. Sure. Find that you want to.
I think so.
Can y'all hear me?
Well, yeah, but then like camera's gonna be.
I'm in like just.
Yeah. Hi. Hello.
Yes. Your name, please?
Juan Villalobos.
Okay. And who's
And
with,
Steven Zamora.
okay. Ms. Aguilar Hardy?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good morning.
Do we have everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, if everybody raise your right hand. Swear the testimony about to give should be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Mr. Villalobos, you brought the suit. You want to tell me what this is about?
Yes. Well, we put in a case order because about 4 or 5 months ago, around the time of March, April, we left a property that we were renting from Ms. Aguilar because it had become uninhabitable after going 2 weeks without electric power. So we terminated the lease per the contract and left. We initially asked for our deposit back since we had to leave. We didn't receive the deposit and we figured, well, okay, maybe we won't fight against that. But then we received a letter a couple days later from Ms. Aguilar claiming that we broke the lease without due cause or due purpose, and that we might be liable for the rest of the rent payments. And at that point, we decided, well, okay, it's not going to stop there. So we decided to pretty much defend ourselves at that point.
Okay.
We did also send you some documents to the email. I don't know if you guys got those. That also document some of the timeline events and I suppose the way that things happened.
Okay. What do you want to present?
I'm sorry.
What do you want to present? Is this your email? Is this what you sent in?
No, sir, that's, I think, oh, never mind. That was mine.
Villalobos, is that what you sent in?
Yeah, that's what I sent.
So what, you need to present your case. You tell me what you want to present.
What we have presented is that first page that you're looking at is an outline of the clause that was in the contract that we all signed upon renting the property. And that clause is the one that we're utilizing or vouching under as being in our right to have left the property in the way that we did.
Okay.
The property was rendered uninhabitable because of the lack of power, so much so to the point that our food was going bad. And after being unable to resolve the issue with Miss Aguilar, we did some further research and determined that because the house was considered uninhabitable, we were within our rights per the contract to leave the property.
Okay. Well, you've made a lot of assumptions. I have no idea why there wasn't electricity. I mean, you want to present that?
Yes. So I believe in March 23rd, the night of March 23rd, there was a very heavy windstorm.
March
That
23rd of what year?
2020.
Okay. I understand your lease started November 1st, 2020?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. 2021, my mistake.
Okay, so you moved in November of 2020.
Yes.
You resided there?
Yes.
Well, until when? I don't know why you were forced out of the house. All I know is you're alleging that electricity at some point did something.
Okay, so yes, March 23rd, 2021, my mistake. There was a very bad windstorm, and that windstorm knocked down the electrical riser that was connected to the power cable going to the house. So that caused the electric cables to be very low hanging, and obviously we were concerned. So we called the electric company because, well, we don't want to have, low hanging power cables in the backyard. And so the electric company came, they looked at the damage. They told us that they could put the power cable back and that was all that they could do for us. But other than that, they wouldn't be able to restore electric power to the house unless certain, requirements were met for the house to be up to code, which was just looking at the riser itself being bent over and falling out. We were initially told, well, before we can do anything about this, there's got to be some fixes that have to be done. So we let Ms. Aguilar know that there was this issue going on and that the electric company had taken the electricity from the house because some fixes or repairs needed to be done because of this windstorm that happened. Now, the windstorm was the initial problem, and down the road was when the electric company started finding out more and more issues that also needed to be resolved. And what initially seemed like might have been a simple fix ended up turning into something more and more troublesome that we as a tenants were dealing with on our own, when the reality was that the responsibility for fixing all of that should have been the landlords. And so after a week and a half of not having electricity, we decided that we were going to take that contract clause and move out. We did try to do some fixes on our own, and we did hire an electrician to go and help us out. They put the riser back. And after the riser was reinstalled, we had the electric company come back again. But again, they found more issues, which is in reference to what I was mentioning before, that things were seemingly getting more and more complicated. And we were the ones that were dealing with all of that. They informed us, I guess we felt that we were dealing with all that stuff on our own. So we decided
So
to
far,
send
I don't know what stuff is. I mean, issues doesn't describe anything. I don't know what had to be done. You can't leave it at issues.
Okay, so the issue that had to be dealt with first was the riser having been knocked down by the windstorm.
What is a riser?
The riser and the meter box were attached to the house. They needed to be reattached.
Yes.
The main electrical components that provide power to the house have been rendered from the side, and they were hanging from the line that runs from the main pole, I guess, for the block to the house. And so
Okay.
that was the very first thing that we noticed, that we had called the electric company about to see what needed to be done to correct it.
Okay.
After they showed up to talk to us about that needing to be done, they told us they needed to disconnect the power because obviously it was a fire hazard with low hanging poles and things torn off the side of the house. So they did that, and we informed Miss Aguilar. Because we were told that that's what needed to be done, we had a contact that we figured could reattach the pole, a licensed electrician. So we went ahead and reached out to them, and they came to the house and they did reattach the pole. But after seeing the hardware that was on the house, they said that a lot of it was out of code, and they were going to, while they could still reattach the pole, they couldn't reconnect us with power until the house had been verified or okayed, brought up to code by the word of the electric company.
And it had to happen, and it also needed to pass city inspection before we could have power again.
Okay.
So it was becoming more and more clear to us that we weren't going to be having power anytime soon. It was becoming even more clear that we were the ones taking all the brunt of the repairs and having to deal with getting the power up and running. And we decided that it was just not worthwhile to live in a place where we couldn't even have food or have proper shelter. And that's why we took up the initiative. We sent Ms. Aguilar the written notice that we were going to move out.
When was it? Oh, okay. Do you have a copy of that written notice?
Yes, it's part of the document that I sent you.
Oh, okay. This one here?
Dated April 1st.
March 31st.
31st.
Yeah, that one.
March, okay.
So I thought March 22nd is not the day the power went out?
The power went out March 24th, the day after the windstorm.
Here in your notice, the property's been without electric power for 7 days as of March 31st.
Yes.
You just told me it was the 24th.
Well, yeah, 24th and 7, that's 31.
31.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. You're right. Okay. That's what as of March 31st is when the date of this hearing. Okay. The 24th it went out. Okay. Okay, and you prior to this March 31st, did you notify Mrs. Aguilar when it went out, March 24th?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And there's also proof of that in the document.
This one here? Oh, yeah, March 24th. Hi, Connie, how are you?
That's right.
Well, I'm sorry to bother you, but there was an incident last night. This is the riser you're talking about here.
Yes, and the whole meter box and everything was knocked down.
Okay. It appears that the winds managed to knock down the electrical meter line with a pole attached to it. Landlord claims to have not been notified of the damage caused by the windstorm that happened on next door and left the property without electricity. Landlord claims she didn't find out until the week after, which is clearly proven to be false, as she was notified something happened. Okay. These are other texts.
That's text.
This is all March 24th, I assume. Is that right? Yeah, 903,
Yes.
902. Okay, and this all trades electric. This is who contacted?
That's an invoice proving that we ourselves did take the steps to try and remedy the situation ourselves before taking the action to leave the house. Which, by the way, we never invoiced Ms. Aguilar for that either. It was all done in
Paid for
good
this?
faith. We paid for that.
Two electricians. I mean, private electricians or electricians from El Paso Electric Company?
Neither. They were seemingly just individuals without credentials. They were sent there by Ms. Aguilar to look at the property. This was after we sent her our notice of intent to terminate the lease and leave. That's when she finally decided to take some action and send some people over. But by the time that she sent people over, which first of all, I want to note that one of the, that what they were doing was legal. They said, look, we can hook up the power now. And yes, it is legal, but if that's what you want me to do, we can do that. So obviously when they told me that, I told them, well, no, don't do that, please. I mean, there's clearly protocols and steps that have to be followed here, especially because the electric company told us that there were certain codes and inspections that had to be followed through first. And when these people that Ms. Aguilar sent came over and told us that it would have been illegal for them to do that, we decided that obviously we didn't want to be complicit in that, and it was just not a part of something that we wanted to be involved with anymore.
Okay. And you had paid for the month of March, I assume? Rent?
Yeah, we paid for the month of, March.
April was we did.
April we didn't pay for.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Ms. Aguilar? I'm sorry, Mr. Villalobos or Mr. Zamora, anything else you'd like to state?
I believe that just about sums it up.
Okay, Mrs. Aguilar?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, a lot of what they said is untrue. They contacted me on the 24th to tell me that they had electricity,
That they had,
and they did have electricity when they called the electric company. They did not call me to send somebody. Instead of calling me initially when this happened, they called the electric company. They did not call me and let me know to send someone. They did have electricity when this happened.
there's a text on the screen, March 24th, 1:37 PM.
Yes,
Did you get the text?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Why is that not telling you something needs to be done?
No, they said that, no, no, I called them right away and they had already called the electric company.
Okay,
So I called them right away, right after that. Can you look at the evidence that I sent you so that I can refer to some things? I sent you 2 emails. The second one, the one that has, let me see.
this one?
That one is something that I wrote with an explanation, and that one is more of the evidence. Okay, so it's again, the residential lease. And what happened is he
What do you want me
called,
to open up?
I'm sorry?
What do you want to show me here?
Can you open up the first one first? It's the explanation, just in case there's anything here. Okay, so the day that he called me on the 24th, he told me what the technician told him, which was, according to him, that things needed to be put back, that the point of attachment had come off with the wind from the night before or that day. I'm not sure when the wind was, but that the technician told him that it needed to be fixed. In talking to Mr. Villalobos, I got very worried because I needed to get this fixed right away. He works for a construction company, and he told me that he knew electricians. He's also said that he's an electrical engineer. I'm not sure about that, but so he said that he knew people and not to worry. As a matter of fact, he told me, don't worry, it's not a big deal. I'll take care of it. So I said, okay. And he was going to call somebody that he knew that's an electrician. The reason that I thought it would be a good idea to have him do it is because he knew people and he could get it done quickly and efficiently. So that was what we agreed on. And then he said that if there were any issues, he would let me know right away. I did not hear from him again until the 30th. So I was actually completely sure that everything had been fixed. And so that's the letter that I'd written to you with exactly what happened. If you look at the other one, the other exhibit, I can go through some things also. So I didn't know that they still didn't have electric power until the night of the 30th. He called me at 9 p.m. on the 30th. This is the contract. If you keep going, where I marked exhibit D. On the contract, I put everything that is related to early termination, Your Honor.
Tell me what number it is.
There, the exhibit D.
Exhibit D?
Yes, right after the contract.
Okay.
Right there. This is where he texted me March 30th Well, he called me at 9 p.m. You can see the time, 21:54, where he told me that they did not connect the electricity. I don't understand at all why the electrician that he picked or why they waited so many days before calling the electric company to reconnect. Um, but he called an electrician that he knew or his friend, and as per the inspector of the city, any licensed electrician should have known what needed to be done. They wound up leaving the point of attachment that was temporary that the city had put in. So that point of attachment is on the top. That's what was pulled off by the electrical wires from the city. And that needed to be changed. And I do believe that that is the main reason that they were not connected. In speaking to the inspector, he told me I would not call that company again. They should have known what to do. The reason I'm including this text is to show you because he mentioned something being wrong with the roof beams. And so I thought I needed to call a roofer, and that had nothing to do with it. It was the point of attachment. I did tell Mr. Juan Villalobos what exactly did they say, and he tells me I tuned out. So he wasn't listening to what the inspector said. So on the 31st, which is the following day, I spent the entire day on the phone with the electric company and calling different licensed electricians. And I sent them this text on the 31st. If you can look at that, excuse me. And I got a hold of the inspector who told me that they had not changed the riser. And then this over here is to show that he had said that he would send an electrician, that he would call his friend that was an electrician initially. That is why I did not act initially, because that was the agreement. As soon as he told me on the 30th that they didn't reconnect him, I immediately called electricians. And by the 31st and the 1st, I had contacted maybe 20 electricians. I acted immediately. And I had 4 different companies go to the house. And I sent them this email with an update because I got one of the electricians to go do the work. So there was no lapse on my part. They initially said they had 2 weeks without electricity. That's not true. It had been a week, but it had been their fault because their electrician didn't do what was needed. So as soon as I knew, I immediately called electricians. Then they sent me this strange letter on the 1st. This one, Exhibit F, saying that some electricians went over there and that they wanted to connect something improperly. First of all the electricians I called, I had either gotten from the Better Business Bureau. As a matter of fact, I even had a gentleman go that had been suggested by the inspector that had gone out there.
Who was the electrician?
I'm sorry?
Who was the electrician?
I had 4 different people go out there. I'm not sure which one they're talking about. I had never met any of them. So I had several electricians go out there. The one that they're talking about, I'm not sure which one it is, but there were companies that I found on the Better Business Bureau. And then the one gentleman that was suggested by the inspector. And I'm thinking that if one of them said that they could reconnect them sooner and they refused, nobody's going to go out and do anything illegal. I was getting prices and I was getting time frames, and I was going to pay an additional amount to get it done immediately. So nobody was going to reconnect them illegally. But just so that you know that by this point, and during the week, they had told me that they wanted to leave the house. I wrote it in the first letter, but I will let you know that Juan asked me. He said, "You've always been very kind with me. You've always been very nice. We've been thinking about this. We bit off more than we can chew. It's a lot more work having a house, and we want to save money. We want to have money to buy something, and we want to rent something cheaper." And when I said, "I'm sorry, but I put a lot of money into fixing the house and I rented it for a year, I cannot let you out of the lease." Suddenly, all of this happened, and they refused to give me a couple of days to have the electricity up and running. Because at that point, the riser needed to be fixed, that point of attachment, and the inspector recommended just doing a total upgrade. He said, you can just fix what needs to be fixed, or you can do an upgrade, which will be easier and faster. So that's what I agreed to do. And so on Monday, when the electricians went, they said nobody answered the door. But I acted immediately to get this fixed. And you can see with the text that as soon as he told me on the 30th, I texted him. The next day, I told him I will find out what they need and fix it as soon as possible. And then the third text shows that he was going to call an electrician. And I even gave them the update on Friday as to what was happening. And this was not uninhabitable. I don't know why they say uninhabitable. Having the electricity knocked down does not make it uninhabitable. There's nothing. I even told the electricians, and they thought it was quite funny that they would say that, because it's not uninhabitable. It was just going to be updated. The other thing, Your Honor, before I forget.
Aguilar, are you saying that not having electricity does not make it uninhabitable?
No, I'm saying that it was going to be fixed right away once they told me.
Okay, well, you agree not having electricity would make it uninhabitable, correct?
It would make it, no, I don't agree. If first of all, they mentioned something about their food. I offered them to use our refrigerator, which is next door, for the food. They
Okay,
did
that's
not.
not at the house, though.
No, I understand that, Your Honor, but what I'm saying is, as soon as they told me, I immediately called electricians and they were going to get it done immediately. That's the whole issue. If something happens, I didn't cause it. The wind caused it. Oh, and they had electricity when they called the electric company. They called the electric company, and the electric company cut them off because the riser was off the wall. If they had called me, I would have called another away and put it back.
Okay, but they did text you, didn't they?
No, Your Honor, he told me that something had happened. I called him right away, and he told me that he would call an electrician friend of his so that it would all be fixed right away. And then he did not tell me anything until the 30th. And on the 30th at night, the next day, I started sending electricians there to fix the problem. They did not give me adequate time. They did not send me anything in writing. They wanted to leave the house. And further proof of this is that while they were still there, during that time that we were discussing this, I received a phone call from Northern Pass Properties, because they had already put in a request for an apartment that was renting at $775.
When was that?
This was during this week, during these few days. Let me try to find, I wrote it in your, they were still living in there. I put in the letter, further proof of this is that while they were still living in the house, I received a call from Northern Pass Properties inquiring about them, as they had filed an application for an apartment renting at $775. This was during the week that they said they were going to call an electrician. So in my opinion, they put all of this in motion because they wanted to get out of the lease without any consequences. And the fact that an electrician that they knew, just to put things back, that there was a delay of a week made absolutely no sense to me.
So why didn't you take control of it and just do it yourself?
I would have if he hadn't told me that he knew somebody that could do it.
Okay,
I would absolutely.
here's the text.
If he had
Here's the-
told me, if he had not offered, Your Honor, he works for a construction company. He knows people. I thought that that would be the fastest way to do it.
Well, that's your
I
decision.
believe that would be the quickest way to get this fixed.
Okay,
as-
here's the text on the screen. March 24th, 1:37 PM. You see the photographs.
Yes,
Next
sir.
text, he says, there are also some power cables dangling down real close. We're going to call the electric company. They tell you they're going to call the electric company.
I called him right away. And I told him I can send somebody down there. And he said, well, we already called the electric company. That's exactly what happened. I
Okay, so
immediately,
what is wrong with that?
what is wrong with what? I'm sorry.
Well, I think earlier you were faulting them for saying, why didn't they just call a private companies to come reattach it instead of calling the electric company?
No, I asked, no, what I'm saying, Your Honor, is why didn't they call me to call someone right away?
Okay, well, they sent you a text.
Company. No, Your Honor, he sent the text and had already called the electric company.
Okay, I think that's a reasonable.
Right, but then when I called him back, he said, I'll call you. In other words, I called him right back. He said the electric company was going to go. And then that evening, he called me and told me what they said. And we spoke at length, and he talked about wanting to leave the house anyway. And he said he had a friend that could reconnect everything quickly because he works for a construction company.
Okay,
I thought that that would be the quickest solution to get them power immediately. I was trying to do the best thing for him. I was worrying about getting him power right away. And his comment to me was even, it's not a big deal. Had I known that you were going to get so worried about this, I wouldn't have even called you. I will take care of it. That was exactly the reason, Your Honor. And I can't even see that. And so that is what happened. And as soon as I knew that they were not reconnected, I immediately sent electricians over there. And the electricians that went over there did let me know that they were harassed by the tenants. One of them didn't even want to do the job. He said that the tenants had harassed them, that they were in their face, asking them questions. And apparently one of them knew was going to be able to reconnect them right away legally, because nobody would have done anything illegal, especially if I'm calling businesses from the Better Business Bureau. And they refused service because their intent was already to leave. They wanted to leave. The inspector told me that they told him they wanted to leave. The electricians told me that
okay,
very.
here's an email. Here's an email. Is this an email on the screen?
Yeah, that's the electric company email.
Is there any way to make it larger? Because I can't see it, Your Honor. Let me see.
You can try. Is that better? What is the date of this email?
Your Honor, that's not the electric company that sent that, it's them.
I think it's electric company. What's
No,
the
top.
Yes, sir. I'm looking for the email right now.
Here's appears to be an email from the electric company.
Yes, but they put something up on the top.
I'm not
Yes,
reading that.
and
I'm reading this portion here.
right, that portion, that's why I did an upgrade. The point of attachment, look here, that's what they said, that was not secure. That's exactly why I sent somebody out there to do the upgrade. That's exactly what I did, Your Honor. As soon as
Did you get an inspection?
I'm sorry?
Did you get an inspection?
Of course.
You got an inspection from the city?
Yes, of course.
You called, okay, what permit? did-
Hold on one second. Where's the? Of course I had an inspection. I did a total upgrade.
And when was it done?
Hold on one second, let me. Oh, it was done, well, it was done after they left because they refused to wait for me to do it. In other words, if you look at my
What
email,
was the date of the upgrade?
I waited and, I waited, since they left, I didn't do it immediately. Let me get you that, hold on. Since they left, I just decided to, Your Honor, I was about to leave to MD Anderson, so since they had left, I did it when I came back. I put the house up for rent to mitigate damages. And I have the city inspection here. I don't know if you can see that.
What's the date of it?
The date of it is when I got back from Houston, from MD Anderson. I did it in May of 2021.
Okay,
The work resolution, everything
so the
was
electricity wasn't restored until May.
right because they moved out.
Okay,
The electricians went on Monday to do the job, that same Monday. It was, okay, so they called me on the
but they
30th.
couldn't get the power restored without an inspection.
I'm sorry.
It's-
You're,
Yeah, we will need to bring it up to code and pass inspection for restoral of service.
yes, Your Honor, and they were gonna do it on Monday.
Who was gonna do it on Monday?
The electricians.
Okay, does the electrician have a name?
Yes, it's, the one that did the work is Villarreal and Son. And the one, I don't remember if he was the same one that was going to do it on that day. Give me one, where's the? Hold on one second.
What's the date of this email, Mr. Villalobos?
That email is dated March 30th.
Yes,
Okay,
so that was 6 days later. And on the 31st, I called the inspector. He told me what needed to be done. On the 1st, you can see their letter. The electricians went out there on the 1st, and they were ready to, if you can look at mine, they were going to connect electricity by Monday. All it needed and all that was done was an upgrade. If you
where
can go,
is this?
if you can go down to my letter, please, that I sent them. It
I'm
was
looking
Power Electric Company, I believe that, right, no, can you go down? Can you go up to the one before? Before that, Your Honor. Can you go to Exhibit E, please?
This is Exhibit E.
No, that's D.
It says on Exhibit E at the very top of it.
There, that one. If you can look at the date, please, because
April
when they
2nd?
told me on the 30th, right, on the 31st, when they told me that they did not have electricity, I immediately sent people over there. And then I
Second.
sent them this email because it was Good Friday. And I had called the inspector from the city and let him know. And he said that they would do a turnaround of 24 hours, but that they needed to go and inspect after the city inspector inspected. So that's why I sent them this email that the company would be closed on Friday and that they needed to go unlock the meter. So that the electricians and the city said that they would do it on Monday. It was Good Friday. He wanted it done by Good Friday in one day. He gave me a 24-hour deadline to get that done. And it was going to be done by Monday. That's why I sent them that email. Everything was set to go. When the electricians went on Monday, they did not open the door and they apparently had already left. They left that weekend, it appears.
Monday would have,
Right before it was going to be fixed.
Monday
The
would have been
electricians were,
April 5th?
sorry?
Monday would have
Yes,
been,
sir. Yes, they were going to, they were starting on, they got the permit, I believe, on Thursday on Thursday, I believe. And then they let me know that the city, the electric company was closed on Friday. And they needed the meter opened. It was not a big deal. Everything was done within 24 hours when I got it fixed. Everything. And I have the receipt right here.
wait. Everything was done within 24 hours. You did-
Within 24 hours on Monday. On Monday, it would have been done. No, when they did it, it took them 24 hours. It would have taken them the same amount on Monday. So by Tuesday, they would have had power. But they left on Monday or Sunday. As soon as I knew that they did not have power, Your Honor, on the 31st, I immediately called electricians and called people to go fix it. From the 31st, that was a Wednesday, and the 1st, that was a Thursday. Everything got set up for them to go ahead and do the work. And if you look at my residential lease, they're supposed to give me notice that they need something done. They never gave me notice that they needed something done in writing. They only let me know what had happened. They got their own person to go out there. And then after that, they did not contact me again until 9 p.m. on the 30th. That's when I found out that they did not have power. At 9 p.m. on the 30th, I immediately called people and they did not, they went over there and then they refused service from one of the electricians.
Okay,
If you look at the clause for, I have the clause there for the, there was no delay on my part, Your Honor. And then the security deposit, it says there that it will be used for anything that's needed. They left in April. They did not pay April. There's a clause on page 5 for early termination. And it goes into page 6 where it says that they're liable. I was not even going to make them liable, but I sent them the letter needed to let them know what was happening. And then they decided to turn around and sue. But everything was fixed as soon as it would have been fixed by Monday, but they did not want to wait because they already had another apartment. And the lady from that place said that they had put in that application before. That application had been put in place before that.
when was your application made for the other apartment, Mr. Villalobos?
No, it was around that time. Absolutely.
When
We-
was it?
I have to look for it actually. But if I may add to that, Your Honor, we submitted the application because we wanted to have something to fall back on. And submitting an application for another apartment does not guarantee that we're gonna be able to move out to begin with. It's just something for us to catch on to, so we have someone to move, should we have to move. But we submitted it, actually, no, sir, we submitted April 5th.
No, Your Honor, the lady called me, the lady, maybe they submitted it to somebody else, to some other place, but she called me while they were still living in there. During that week where he was supposed to be, there was somebody that called me during the week where he was supposedly having his person his electrician fix something. He did not give me at all a
Oh,
chance
okay, Your Honor.
to fix
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
problem, Your Honor.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Villalobos.
Oh, okay, so the application was submitted on April 1st. I have a email here actually confirming that.
Okay,
I can forward that to you as well.
you forward it to the Gmail account?
Let me go ahead and do that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Your Honor, they did not give me a chance to fix the problem because they had already decided they were moving. And as soon on the 31st, which is when I was able to call an electrician on my own, they had already decided to move. And they told the inspector and they told several of the electricians that they just wanted to move. And if somebody went and was able to connect them quicker on the 1st and they refused service, that is on them, not on me. And
Okay,
it's,
Your Honor, I went ahead and sent you the application for the apartments.
and then they furthermore, Your Honor, I'm sorry, on that 1st, they even threatened me on the bottom of that letter,
Bottom of what letter?
the one that they sent me on the 1st. It's in my evidence and I think it's in theirs as well.
Okay, I'm trying to look for the letter. You said they threatened.
April 1st. On mine, it's exhibit F on mine. F, it's on F. Right there on the bottom. That they're going to put a lien on the building and
I don't know if that's a threat. I mean, it's just telling you what they think they can do.
like, and then also verbally, they kept saying that they were gonna call the inspectors. I said, well, go ahead. The inspector's already been out there. They were trying to leave, but Your Honor, if you, as per the property codes and code 92.056, they were supposed to give me written notice, give me a chance to remedy the situation. And then if somebody doesn't remedy, they have to do a subsequent written notice and give me reasonable time to fix it. I called someone within 24 hours to go out there. So under 92.056 and 92.052, they did not follow what they needed to follow. Also, they left the house dirty, and that is in the first set of pictures that I sent you, by the way.
What are you suing for, Mrs. Aguilar?
I am suing for the time it took me to re-rent the property, only the time it was 2.5 months.
From when to
And-
when?
I'm sorry,
From when to when?
it was for April, which they didn't pay and they were still living in there. So April, they were still there, but they didn't pay it. For May and for half of June.
So when was the electricity fixed?
Oh, in May, as soon as I I found somebody that wanted to
Asking
rent,
for a date.
oh, May. It was in May, Your Honor. I'm trying to,
30 days, that's May 31st, 31 days. How many, when was it?
I'm not sure of the exact date, but the invoice they send me has May 27th on the invoice, but there was probably done before that. In other words, as soon as I had a tenant that was going to go in, it took 24 hours. By then I knew that it would take 24 hours to get it fixed. So that's what I did, because when I was going to do it on April 1st, I was going to be paying a premium to have it done very quickly, and to have the inspectors possibly go out during non-hours to reconnect.
Okay, but it wasn't, that wasn't done. So,
No, it wasn't done because they left,
okay, but then on the other hand, you're saying you owe me the rent for that month, but it wasn't repaired.
because they left.
Okay, so you want it both ways. You want to collect the rent for that month and take till May to have it fixed.
Well, Your Honor, if they had left, they didn't need it anymore. That if I had known that it doesn't make any sense. They left. They refused to have it connected on Monday.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is you're on your counterclaim, you're saying I want rent for April when there was no electricity to the place, correct?
Well, I didn't connect it because they had already left. In other words, it's not rent for it's the time that they left, and for me, it's the time that they left without the proper notice that they should have given me, and without giving me the time to repair. The only reason that I didn't do it on that day is because the electricians could not get inside the house because they did not open the door. Then later on that day, I went and it looked like they had moved out.
So they could have done it that day.
No, they needed to get inside the house. I'm not going to let somebody inside the house if the tenants have not turned in keys to me.
So when did they turn in the keys?
I had to contact them to turn in the keys if they had left.
Okay, I'm some reason my questions are never answered. There's always something else. When were the keys returned?
I believe it was the 6th. I'm not sure. I believe that's when I asked, I said, if you have left, you need to turn in keys.
Okay, so you could have had it fixed anytime from April 6th on, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, but that week I was leaving to MD Anderson, so that's why I waited until I came back.
When did the new tenant move in?
They moved in mid-June. They actually moved in at the beginning of June. They started moving in, but I gave them so that they would move in quickly and I could mitigate the damages. They got 2 weeks, excuse me.
Okay, so June 1st?
Well, they started paying June 15th,
When were they allowed to move into the premises?
June 1st.
June
Well,
1st.
during that time, June 1st, but they didn't have to pay. They were allowed to start moving all their things in and everything else. That's why as soon as I got someone, I immediately put the
Electricity was,
had them. Yes, sir. Because the electricity had to be.
what was my question?
I'm sorry?
What was my question?
Your question was, when did they move in?
No. See, if it's better if you wait till I ask the question before you answer it.
Okay.
The question was, when did they complete the electrical work?
I believe it was sometime between May 25th and May 27th.
Okay. How much is the deposit?
1,100.
How much is the rent?
1,200.
Um, So as far as I can tell, if it was fixed May 25th, that's the earliest that anybody could have possibly lived in the premises. Because you can't live in there without electricity.
No, but as soon as somebody was going to rent it.
Can I ask you a question? Because May 25th is the earliest that somebody could have moved in because electricity had not been turned on before then. Is that correct?
No, if somebody had rented it in May on May 1st, I would have connected the electricity on May 1st.
Again, I'm not asking you what could have happened, what would have happened. I'm asking the earliest that it could have been rented was the date that it had electricity, correct?
Yes, but I would have put it on earlier,
Did you put it on earlier?
I'm sorry?
Did you put it on earlier?
I already told you, Your Honor, that I was at MD Anderson, so my husband would have put it on as soon as we
Was
had
it put
somebody.
on earlier?
I'm sorry?
Was it put on earlier?
No,
Okay, so it's put on May 25th. So that is 6 days that it could have possibly been rented. Because electricity had not been restored to it prior to May 25th.
it wasn't rented till June 15th.
You said that they had possession on June 1st.
No, they only had possession to put in their stuff, but they did not rent it until
That's
June
possession.
15th.
If the tenants were allowed to go in on only one tenant could go in, correct? You can have 2 tenants there.
No, they were allowed to put in some of their things. They were not going to live there until June 15th.
You allow
But
any other tenants to put in their stuff?
I'm sorry?
You allow any other parties to put in their stuff?
Yes, I allowed the Villalobos and
On June 1st, did you allow any other parties to put their stuff on the premises?
you mean in May or June?
On June 1st, did you allow any other tenants to put their property in the premises?
No, they actually didn't go in until June, maybe 10th or something like that.
Okay, I'm just going from your testimony. Your testimony was, I allowed the tenants to put their stuff in on June 1st.
Well, it was in June, but they didn't go in until about June, about 5 days before.
Well, earlier it was June 1st.
Yes, I was going to let them do it as soon as they needed to, but I don't think they actually put anything in there until June 10th. So that's just what I'm telling you. That's actually what happened.
Which you're guessing?
No, I'm not guessing. They didn't need to put anything in there until a few days before,
And why did you tell me June 1st?
because I was going to allow them to start on June 1st if they wanted to.
So, and my question is, when were they allowed on the premises? You said June 1st. You didn't mean that?
No, that's when they were allowed. That's not when they actually started
June
moving.
1st.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm also including the cleaning fee, what I'm requesting,
What is the cleaning fee?
$200.
Why was it $200 and what did they claim?
If you look at the first email I sent you, you can look at the pictures of how they left it, Your Honor. It was a previous email.
Not this one?
No, it was a previous email. Last week, I sent it because I wasn't sure if you were going that one. And I didn't include all the pictures. I just tried to make it easier for you.
What are these nails and screws left in the driveway?
Yes, they put them on the driveway, which I don't know why they did that.
This is, okay. This was a charge for $200 to clean the bathroom and the,
It was the whole house. I just took a few pictures to send you. Actually, a cleaning, usually it's more when
the
you,
rest of the house? You have pictures of the rest of the house?
no. We just took the bathrooms and the kitchen.
Mr. Villalobos, do you agree the deposit's $1,100?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other charges, Mrs. Cabral? No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Aguilar, I'm sorry.
Well, I know, I mean, I wasn't gonna charge that. There's a reletting fee, there's the time that I spent, there's everything else, and then the fee that I had to pay to get all of this done and to get, it was just a lot, Your Honor, just a lot.
Okay, is there any other fee that you wanted to deduct from the deposit?
No, I wasn't going to deduct anything else.
Okay,
Just the rent that until I was able to re-rent it and cleaning fee.
and you filed a counterclaim for,
I filed a counterclaim.
okay. Okay, my judgment is for, I'm gonna allow a $432 deduction from the deposit.
Can you tell me what that, can you explain that to me, please?
$232.25 for the 6 days in May of rent.
And what about in April?
There was no electricity in April.
Yes, but they didn't give me a chance to fix the electricity. They're supposed to, under law, give me a reasonable time to get that fixed. It would have been fixed within a few days.
Yeah, I can't do things by would have been. All I can do is by what the facts are.
But according to the law in the section 92.056, they were obligated to give me written notice, and it's also on my contract, and they were obligated to give me a chance, a reasonable time to fix the problem, which it was very reasonable that it was going to be fixed in a few days.
Okay, and again, I can't judge a case by what was going to happen or what could have happened, but what did happen.
Well, what did not happen is they did not give me a written notice or reasonable time to fix. And I have all the paperwork here as to what the law says, Your Honor.
So my judgment is for the defendants, the return of the deposit, the amount of $667.75. That's $232.25 for the 6 days in May and a $200 cleaning fee.
How did you come up with each day? Is it what is on the contract?
I'm sorry, how much did I come up with what?
The amount for the days?
The days that you said that the electricity was restored on May 25th? At
No,
least
we're talking about the daily rate.
1,200, the rent is $1,200 divided by 31 days.
Okay, but if nobody went in there till June 10th,
We first testified it was June 1st.
no, that's when I was trying to get everything reconnected so that they would have access, but they did not go in until June 10th. I gave them a few extra days.
Okay, yes, that's how you, yes. You did change your testimony, but initially your testimony was June 1st. And so that's the date I'm going with. And then a $200 for the cleaning fee. I'll prepare a judgment. Do we have everybody? Yes, we have your all's email. And I'll email it to both of you all. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry. So let's see.
Can you tell me what the daily rate that you came up with was, Your Honor?
Well, $1,200 divided by 31.
Because on the contract, it has it as $39 and it's on the contract, the daily rate. I do it with a year, through the year. It's $39 and something.
Anything else? No, well, I will email each of you a copy of the judgment. Any other questions?
Can we go over the judgment before anything? Because I'm sorry, I'd like to see this in writing so I can understand it better.
I'm ordering that she refund of the deposit $667.75.
Okay,
Anything else?
nope, that's good.
Okay, I will email you each a copy of the judgment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.